such as facilitating a strategic planning day, writing a marketing plan for you. For small and medium-sized organisations, usually the CEO, or in larger organisations, senior executives within the organisation. Those mentoring relationships can go on for several years and, of course, are really high value to the organisation.
Jobs which we may not have the skill set for, or the time, or the financial resources.
The business plan, some succession plan.
Sometimes the organisation wants a finance or an audit or a risk management person to join their committee of management or to run the audit committee. Sometimes there's been a request to review the currency of the Constitution or the Articles of Association or undertake a review of the governance arrangements. Those skills are applied in a really collaborative way with the organisation. It does leave a more sustainable organisation, more sustainable people in the future.
About capacity building, our alumni don't come in necessarily to do the operational tasks of an organisation. We want to build the capacity, we want to leave behind skills or skilled people that can then take on and do many of the roles or the areas that perhaps you found needing or lacking in your organisation.
The volunteer is feeling very satisfied with their contribution, they're using their skills, and if they're coming from a corporate who's donating corporate volunteering, that corporate is also really satisfied that they're actually adding value by supplying a corporate volunteer. So they might have a range of consultancy positions, they might sit on some boards in a paid role, but they're also looking as part of their week to provide some community service.
Whilst doing something good, so the idea of doing something that would help others, and it was also an exciting project in that it was the brand new web presence, so it was a chance to be part of something that was going to be something new, and we could develop it, ourselves and play a real part in their very first website, which was an exciting prospect.
And when you've had a life of working sort of up to 72 hours a week, doing a lot of travelling, you want to do something different with your life. You want to travel and have no commitments, maybe a bit of consulting, but you also need something to feel that you're doing something worthwhile with your skills. So.
Now you need to be very clear from the outset about the relationship that you have with the people in your organisation. So you need to be clear about the way that you engage with your volunteers, so that you can all understand the types of laws that apply to your volunteers and basically what you owe them legally. It's really important that your volunteers know what they're actually engaged to do, so that they can know that what's expected of them. And from a legal perspective, it's important that your volunteer knows what they are and aren't authorised to do in their capacity as a volunteer. Now, all community organisations that operate in a workplace or that have employees have certain obligations under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Now, if your organisation is covered by the Occupational Health and Safety Act, then you have responsibilities to, so far as reasonably practicable, provide and maintain a safe working environment. Now, different laws apply differently to volunteers as opposed to employees. So intellectual property, for example, is going to apply differently to an employee as opposed to a volunteer. Now, it might seem like a really easy distinction to make, this difference between employee and volunteer, but the reality is that at law, sometimes that distinction is actually not that straightforward. And because your employees are actually able to access certain things that your volunteers aren't, like salary and wage, superannuation, they can access workers' compensation insurance, for example, that volunteers can't.
The way if you've got projects that can be done remotely, by phone and email and online, then you've got access to volunteers nationwide. So definitely communication is my top tip. Right from the very beginning in terms of making sure the volunteer knows what's expected of them, in terms of timing and flexibility, right through to the very end where the volunteer would like to get some feedback from you. Most of our volunteers say that they are donating their skills and experience because they want to give back to the community, and so they'd really like to know when they finish the project that that's just what they've done.
We sit down with them and use a very, very simple project description form that's been developed by the staff, to actually help clarify their priorities and their needs and what we might be able to do to help.
Was, you know, to be prepared for when the volunteer starts, and you know, to have information and other things that you, and perhaps even meetings, and the organisation, other members of the organisation informed that, you know, this is what's going to be happening, and it makes for us a smooth and welcome transition for the volunteer. To ensure that you have support within your organisation for using the skill
Volunteer role would need to be supportive of the work of the paid staff of the organisation and not replace or be a threat to replacing them.
Focusing on the outcome and really not trying to set out the solutions, but rather what you really need to achieve that outcome. And the final point comes back to what I said earlier, and that really is about communication. It's a fundamental in life, in work, but really it's what it's all about, and don't be afraid to come back and say if you're not happy with what's happening as well. So,
and distinguish between what you want and what you need. And that's obviously been the theme of today, and it's really important. And just be absolutely prepared that you probably actually won't get what you want, but you will get what you need eventually.